I wanted to tell you the story of Blackberry Bobby. Blackberry Bobby was born in the eastern coast of North Carolina, just off the military base at Camp Lejeune. He was born to a mother who ended up being in and out of a mental institution 3 different times. He was so severely beaten, burned, even raped. He spent his life in an orphanage and has overcome many obstacles in his life, and I felt it was important to tell his story. The story starts probably from the first memory of riding in a car with my mom, and she is pointing her finger in my chest with a nail, and her fingernail is just poking me, and I remember it used to leave little arches from where it hurt so bad, and I can hear her voice saying, I guess I'm about 5 years old, and she's saying, look, you little son of a bitch, you better come home when I call you, or I'll beat the shit out of you. You understand? And at that point I noticed I'm sitting as far away from her as I can get. She has a big beehive bouffant, she's smoking a cigarette and chewing gum, and she's got some of those cat glasses that I guess people thought were hot back then in the early 60s. And I remember saying yes, and then I feel a slap. And she said, what did you say? And I said, yes, ma'am. She said, you better say yes, ma'am. Next thing you know, we've stopped the car, and she says, get out. And she throws a bag, I guess, with a sandwich in it, and she leaves me on the playground. And it's one of those hot southern North Carolina days that you can barely breathe. It even burns your nostrils. But, it's okay, it seems to me at the time, because there's a sandbox, there's a merry-go-round, there's swings, and there's a little water fountain. And so I basically spend the day there playing and doing whatever. And I remember I'm swinging, and all of a sudden I realize the sun's going down. And then tears come into my eyes, and I'm really scared, and I realize that I haven't come when she called me. And then the fear comes, because I guess this must not be the first time that I knew what was about to come. And so I'm like 5 and a half, and I decide I can't go home. So I start walking, but I don't know where I'm going. I'm only 5 years old. I'm not thinking about running away. I just don't want to go home. And I remember all of a sudden my stomach, I haven't eaten anything but that one sandwich sometime earlier in the morning. And so I start walking. I come across, I guess, a mess hall, and in their garbage outside, I see a hot dog sitting there. So I reach in and get the hot dog with chili on it. And it's half eaten, but I eat it, and I keep walking. And now, if you know anything about the coast of North Carolina, it can go from like 80 to 60 in a couple of hours. And now my teeth are chattering, and I'm scared. I don't know if it's from the fear or the cold or being sunburned and being out all day. And I guess somehow, I don't know how I ended up back at the apartment where we lived. My mother was now married to my stepfather, Jack. She had been married to another man previously and had 2 kids. And then somewhere in between there, she slept with a man, and I am the child of that man. So I don't really belong to her first husband or now her second husband. And I remember there's a box on the front porch, and I crawl in the box and I hide. And all of a sudden I hear them come out, and they're like going, she is just irate. And she's screaming, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him when I find that little son of a bitch. And Jack, her new husband, is saying, Jean, calm down. Jean is my mother. And she said, we'll find him. You can deal with him then, but don't make a big scene in front of the neighbors. And so I guess then they call the MPs after a while, and they're all looking for me, and I can hear them talking. And then they all leave, and they go inside, and then all of a sudden I look up, and there's my brother Timmy, my older half-brother Timmy, and he's staring at me in the box. And all of a sudden and I'm sure my eyes said, please don't say anything, please don't say anything. But he starts screaming, here he is, And that's when she comes out and she grabs me by my arm, just by the arm, and drags me into the house. Even before then, she starts slapping me, starts hitting me. And Jack says, "Get inside, get inside." So she takes me into the bedroom and she slams the door, and that's when the kicking, the beating, the punching, and everything, and eventually she ends up throwing me into what is my bed, which is a shelf built in a sliding door closet. And she slams the door, and I lay there crying, and it feels like my nose is bleeding. And then I remember I vomited. And this wasn't the first time this happened. It was several times. And that's how the story of Blackberry Bobby starts. And I hope you tune in for the next episode.